I know a lot of people have their ideal version of themselves, whether it's more money, attention, status, cars. Everyone has their own variation. And this isn't a judgment on people for chasing certain things. I have my own ideal version, and I'm not going to say it's right or wrong, 'cause then I just kind of sound like an asshole, and that's really not the point of this. This is going to be a combination of a story and steps I took in my own life in order, I guess, get to where I wanted to be or at least move forward. I'm 24. I'm not going to say I have this figured out by any means, but this was a pivotal moment in my life, so maybe you can take something from it. Maybe it'll help one of you. First off, let me explain what I mean when I say someone has to die. And I hope you can understand. I don't literally mean somebody's got to get boomed. Like, let's lock in. The version of yourself you're currently holding on to has to go. I think when you try to balance being who you are and who you want to be, you're bound to fall into some sort of identity crisis. Being two people at once is exhausting. Emotionally, mentally, it's for me at least it's too much to maintain, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people. I think social media is a good example of this. Of course, not as extreme for most people since typically your online presence, Instagram for example, is a highlight of your real life. But even then, you're maintaining your real persona and then a curated internet persona. And I've tried the influencer route. I genuinely don't know how they do it. I'm sure there's a lot of compartmentalization that goes into it, but I'm not built for that. Anyways, a few years ago, I was an anxious little guy, afraid to step out of any kind of comfort zone. I had my small group of friends, played a whole bunch of video games, smoked a lot of weed, drank on the weekends, average B grade college student. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't miserable. I was anxious, but like I'm not gonna say I was depressed and hated life. It was just average life. Honestly, looking back, it was probably a bit below average, but it is what it is. We live and learn. It wasn't until 2022, my sophomore year, where I had a bit of an awakening. At that time, I was with this girl. It was slightly long distance. I would travel to visit her. She would come visit me a few times throughout the semester. She ended up being unfaithful. It was this weird situationship thing, so I don't like the label cheating. I think that's a bit unfair, but I was hurt and she acknowledged that she hurt me. So it was this whole thing. I'm not going to say I was perfect either, but it was a mess. I was crashing out afterwards, as one does, and I was kind of at this weird inflection point. I could have done what I would normally do up to that point in my life. Semester's over, go home, let's forget about it. Go out, drink with my friends, hang out at home, do X, Y, and Z. But something in me, for whatever reason, told me to stay at school. I had an apartment, so I had year-round access. So I decided to stay there, and that simple decision was probably the most transformative decision up to that point in my life. Something super simple is just not going home. For that summer, all of my friends had went home. I worked a detailing job, so not very social. I was genuinely alone. Like I'm not kidding, I would go days without speaking out loud. Because at work, I would just throw my headphones in. I didn't really have any roommates to talk to. None of my friends were really there. So it was definitely a weird adjustment. My only real interaction would be getting on PlayStation here and there, maybe like 3, 4 days a week. I was trying to limit my gaming at this time. So that was really the only time I would speak out loud. It was kind of crazy looking back on it. If you asked me to do it again, maybe I could. I would definitely need the right circumstance though. But anyways, I was going through it that whole summer. This was from mid-May to about mid-August. During that period, it was a time I thought I was gay. It was a time I heavily debated cutting my friends off because I'm like, oh, they don't mess with me. it's me versus the world. There was a lot of like self pity, a lot of weird, you know, mental things happening. I don't know. I was 20 years old and lost. But being alone in that way, all I could really do was look inward. I didn't have any external circumstance or external, people, situations to blame my misfortune on or blame any kind of negative feelings on. All I had right then and there was myself. So I really took a lot of time to reflect like, what is my life now? How did I get here? Who am I? What do I even want? What do I even like to do? Because at this point in my life, I was just kind of coasting, going through motions. Okay, middle school's done. Let's go to high school. High school's done. College is the next natural step. I was just kind of doing shit. I didn't really, I did not have free will unlocked yet. I really didn't. But even through all that, I dedicated my time. I was meditating. I was reading. I was working through a lot of confusing thoughts and emotions, trying to find means of curing my anxiety because it's plagued me for probably 15, 16 years at this point in my life. So I was sick of it. I was ready to do something new and drastic to get rid of it. After that summer, I only went home for maybe about a week at the beginning, middle-ish of August, and then semester started back up. I went to therapy for maybe 5, 6 weeks right after, I guess, to put a nice little bow on all of the self-reflection and, personal learning and growth I did over that summer. But yo, son, when I tell you fall 2022 was the craziest 180 I've ever experienced in my life. I think people need to understand the power of the exponential function, where it's nothing, 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 a tiny bit, a little bit more, a little bit more, and then it just fucking booms, bro. Like, I really feel like I wasn't moving. And honestly, that's what a decent amount of life feels like. It's like, okay, I'm just kind of here. I'm just kind of coasting. As long as you're making those steps and actually putting in effort, you might feel like you're going nowhere. But one day, shit might just pop off. And that's kind of what my end of year that year was. I think my nexus moment that year was right after Halloween. I cut my hair off. And this was a huge deal for me at the time. Up until that point, so, some context, I had this crazy high top fade since like 2015, 2016. And all throughout high school and college up to that point, I was scared to cut it off. I was really insecure about my head size, like my forehead size for that time, which is kind of funny thinking back on it. But it was like the end of the world if I had to like cut my hair off. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm gonna be a new person. What if it's over? What if I can't grow it back? What if like I can't shield my head, whatever it is? And I was just so afraid to embrace something new that it really symbolized the fear in me holding myself back. So, yo, when I tell you, the day I cut it off, I was unstoppable. I really did feel like a new person. And this is what I mean when I say someone has to die. I think that was the moment that I was able to shed my skin in a way, cut my hair, whatever kind of cheesy metaphor you want to use. And it's not to say, obviously, it wasn't a 1 day experience like, oh, just go cut your hair off, everything will be fine. No. It was, months of hard work and angst and a lot of pain that went into it. But to conquer that final fear, climb that final mountain was like genuinely an eye-opening euphoric moment. I still remember being in the barber shop. I went to a new barber that day. Like everything about that day was new. And my life just completely changed. I had a 4.0 that semester up from like a 2.9 or a 3 the previous semester. I was networking. I was joining clubs. I made a whole bunch of new friends. I ended up dyeing my hair blonde, which was something I had wanted to do for years up until that point. Yo, I pulled some of the baddest women I ever have in my life that semester. Yo, I really could not be stopped, genuinely. That next year, I got really into public speaking. I ended up speaking at my university stadium in front of 6,000 people. And this is coming from like an anxious kid who didn't even want to speak to people in class. I got my dream internship that following fall. It was just a massive snowball that I rode out probably until I'd say like 2024 is kind of when that snowball started to slow down. And it's funny because after that summer and like immediately after leading into that, I had the same job, I had the same friends, I went to the same school. My money didn't change all that much. Externally in my life, not much changed. Everything that caused the snowball was internal. Sure, I changed my inputs a little bit. I stopped smoking weed for a good amount of time and I drank a lot less, but that's by no means the only reasons for it. It was really the change in how I viewed myself and what I realized I was capable of. It's been about 4 years since this summer. I'm 24. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but I think I'm coming up on another change in my life, or the very least, I'm looking for one. I've wanted to start a YouTube channel since I was a kid playing Black Ops 2, making my sniping montages. So maybe this is it. Maybe this is my new form of jumping in the pool and cutting my hair off. If you think you're at an inflection point in your life, or if life feels stale, if you're looking for this major change, life is too short, bro. Go jump in the pool, go cut your hair off, go book that trip, find what you're afraid of, and go figure out how to overcome it. I promise you, life is infinitely better when you're not afraid of things. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. Thank you guys for watching. Kind of weird getting vulnerable on on a microphone on the internet, but I hope this helps somebody. If you guys got any comments, you want to chop it up, if you got any goals, life advice, please leave a comment. Love to chop it up, shoot the shit with y'all. I don't really know what my niche, I guess, or area I'm just gonna take this channel. If I got a topic I think would help or something I want to get off my chest, it's really just kind of talk show vibe. Put your headphones in, listen. But I do hope y'all enjoyed. Genuinely, peace and love, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Take it easy.